I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber! Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got drunk, man! Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? What is up, MCR family? It's an early daily edition of the show, live on YouTube and obviously podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. Smash that like button, share the show, subscribe to us on podcast form, drop that 5-star review. Unfortunately, I have to announce that I, Matt Tipsel Hunter, will not be joined today by Robbie Hearns. Obviously, it's an early show, it's a breaking news show, and plus Rob is a little bit busy today. So he is unavailable. I don't know if he can call in. I know he's in the chat right now listening, but we are definitely just riding solo with me. Call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue if you are international. Email me, mixedcombatradio@gmail.com to get a free international and permanent call-in link. All the information and links below in the description and at mixedcombatradio.com. But like the title says, breaking news, WBC have ordered the Wilder Fury 2 rematch. And on top of that, some added sort of information on top of it. And let me go directly to the WBC boxing.com, their own page, and it says, consistent with the WBC Board of Governors voting regarding the direct rematch between WBC champion Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, the WBC is hereby notifying both camps that the free negotiation period is open, and if there is no agreement between the parties, a purse bid will be conducted by the WBC on Tuesday, February 5th. The WBC has modified the 70-30 split and has confirmed a 60-40 split in favor of the champion Wilder, considering the market value of Fury. A lot to sort of unpack here. I think it's pretty obvious, but I know that we have a lot of listeners that are new to the show, so they haven't heard me ranting about regulations and sanctioning bodies and how the rules work and all that stuff for a while. And B, I also know that we have a lot of new listeners that are, I would assume, not as in depth or caught up with how these things run. This, I think, is just a great outcome. This is great to hear for a lot of reasons. One, if you are a fan of Fury, if you're a fan in the UK, if you are anti-Wilder anyway, and you want the Fury-Wilder rematch to be in the UK, this is a great way to do it. Purse bid. You don't have to negotiate. Wait till purse bid. Go win that purse bid. And then if you're Frank Warren, Tyson Fury, and you win it, you can put the fight in Old Trafford. You can put the fight wherever you want, in Wembley, wherever you may. It doesn't matter. But you are in control. The split stays the same as 60-40. If you are Fury himself and you want a bigger slice of the pie, you have a huge negotiation power now. You can say, look, we can negotiate right now. We can have the fight back in the U.S., wherever you want, Wilder. But I want 50-50. I want whatever, right? Or we go to purse bids, and I'm going to win, and we're going to make it Old Trafford, and I'll be okay with it. And again, if you're on Wilder's side, you get the fight. Because I think that's basically what everyone has wanted at this point, is that for Wilder to, in all intents and purposes, redeem himself in a way. A lot of people now see him as, the third guy of that top 3 in the division. He sort of needs this fight back. A purse bid's now a guaranteed way of getting that fight back. I see people saying that, in the chat saying that he's trapped. You can have that sort of perspective, I guess, if you want. I really don't see it like that. But again, very interesting news. And on top of that, does this even happen? Does this even go to purse bid? Do they negotiate? I'm of the mindset that this isn't going to happen, as in the purse bid is not going to happen. I think both parties will come to an agreement within the next week or so, and the fight will be in the U.S. Both sides will have a very equitable split of the revenue, and everyone's going to be happy. I truly think that's going to be how it is. It's, in my opinion, a very simple breaking news topic, a very simple one, but I know there's some people that are confused by this or don't understand how it works. But basically, that is it. There's not really much else to add to it, unless somebody else in the chat has some good points. Let me read very quickly anything in the chat. PC Jacob saying Warren better win, i.e. the purse bid. No more robberies. We have to remember, PC Jacob, that Warren has every amount of input on the judges and refs of the fight, whether it's in the U.S., whether it's in the U.K., whether Heyman wins the purse bid, whether Warren wins the purse bid. That's a regulatory issue, not a sanction issue. So that, again, just like in the first fight, Warren and his team were at the Nevada State Athletic Commission hearing that determined the judges and refs of that fight. So there's no big conspiracy there. Andre Diakono saying this is bullshit. This is all about money for Maurice and his team. I don't see how that makes sense. Like, what about this is bullshit? Honestly, the WBC was going to get their split regardless, right? Like, if there's a purse bid or no purse bid, Maurice Suleiman and the WBC still get their sanctioning split. That's basically how it works. Again, there seems to be some controversy over this. I don't understand how the controversy is here. Warp Fire saying we got a link to this. WBCboxing.com, their own page. They have it. I think it's like on their front page as well. But we do have a caller. Santiago has called in. Santiago, press 1 if you want to get in the queue. Also, interesting aspect of this purse bid, technically speaking, it hasn't really happened that much. I can think of maybe one time, and even then I really can't. It's escaping me, of a third party coming in and actually winning a purse bid. So in theory, this happened. It didn't work, but this happened with the Alex Acedo Maurice Hooker fight. I believe there was Heyman, Heyman representatives, PBC representatives that were at the purse bid for that. So this does happen on occasion, where Eddie Hearn or DAZN will show up to a purse bid that's featuring a fighter that's not one of theirs, but bid on it. So technically, anyone can bid on this fight. Yes, that's absolutely true. So can DAZN / Eddie Hearn / Golden Boy / Main Events, whoever you want to throw in that hat, yeah, they can of course come and outbid Heyman and Frank Warren. Would that happen? I highly doubt that. West in the chat saying, hey, Matt, when are we going to start calling in for the show? You guys can call in at any point. Call in at any point. 323-870-4051 for domestic. If you are international, email me, mixcombatradio@gmail.com to get a free international and permanent call-in link. All that link and info is below in the description on YouTube, on podcasts, wherever you listen to the show. It's right there to be had. It should not be a big issue. If it is, Wes, again, email me and I'll help you through it. It is a pretty simple process once you have that link, because that is a permanent link that you can just go and click and you can call in instantly. But anyways, we're going to go to Santiago, calling out of LA. because I see Rob over there in the chat with his Eddie Hearn DAZN flag coming out saying that they might come in and win it. Oh man, the fantasy. Rob, you and your zealots have taken over the show in the chat in a lot of ways, and it's hilarious. Santiago, how are you doing, man? Santiago. Hello. Are you muted? Damn. Oh, there you go.
Yes, I was muted. My bad, man.
So you'd be like, hey, I'm here. You're like, Matt, I'm here this whole time. And that's just sad. Anyways, Santiago, how are you doing?
Doing good, man. Early morning for me, considering. But listening to the show, just updated the Facebook page, and I'm pretty happy and excited to be seeing that we're probably gonna get this fight. Be it negotiation or purse bid, and it'll be interesting to see if it does go to purse bid, who'd be willing to bid on this fight too, considering. I just find it fascinating personally, like how much of an afterthought, in my opinion, AJ has become since Fury first decided to pick up the ball that Joshua dropped when they decided they didn't have a deal with Wilder, because now all the shine and spotlight is on those two guys. From the promotion, the press conferences, to the fight itself, to like our desire to see a rematch. Like, we know AJ's fighting, we know he's got 3 of the 4 major belts, but the light is on them now. They're the ones who have all this attention on them now, and like, does Joshua even have an opponent? All we know is he has a date in the venue at this point.
True, and obviously, I mean, in theory, if this purse bid were to happen, whoever were to win would sort of create the package after that winning bid. But I doubt we even come to that, honestly. I think in about a week or two, we hear purse bid's been canceled, deal's imminent, and then within the next 12 hours, we hear some sort of announcement. Hey, fight's gonna be in Vegas or New York. The rematch, Showtime pay-per-view, and everyone's gonna be excited for it.
Yeah, a lot of us, considering, because it was a good first fight too. We had all our preconceptions about how we thought either fight could have gone based on their track records. The fight didn't go in that particular manner. We had a great fight. We had a great performance by both guys, and we can only hope to see better from the sequel, because I honestly think that this is going to be one of those sequels that is just as good, if not maybe even a little better than the first fight. Your thoughts on that?
I don't know. It's so hard to sort of tell when a rematch would be better than the original, especially when the original was so great. I see the rematch being more decisive. I don't know if that's going to equal a better fight, but I see whoever wins, whether it be Fury, whether it be Wilder, I think it's going to be clear. I don't think it's going to be as close. Or maybe maybe they have a Canelo Triple G sort of vibe and style clash where like every time they go to bat, it's going to be the same fight. It's going to be the same interesting, close, dynamic, competitive fight. If it does, that's amazing, but I don't know if we get that.
Yeah, it's very rare to see those kind of fights, like a Gotti Ward, or like in the UFC, where you see guys fight like 5 times and the fights are always just compelling, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, how many Ali Frazier's do you have where all 3 fights are amazing? Like, honestly.
Well, for the record, the second fight was kind of a dud, but
true.
You're right. And I mean, Gotti Ward, 1 through 3 was amazing. Pacquiao Marquez 1, 2, and 4 was pretty good. 3 was like the fight that Marquez should have won.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you have your series of fights in the UFC where like guys fought 4 or 5 times, and like you're like, these guys are just always gonna have a good fight, right?
Yeah, I mean, Robbie Lawler, Johnny Hendricks comes to mind. Any sort of Carlos Condit series comes to mind. Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor. I mean, anytime you put those 2 guys together, I think it's going to be a fun fight. Chuck Randy, Chuck Tito. You know, you can go back, but there's actually far less of the 4 or 5 fight series in the UFC and MMA history. Very few of those.
Fascinating. But yeah, I'm excited. Definitely I agree with you that I think that they're probably going to reach a deal. You know, they're probably not going to want it to go to first bid. We'll see something that seems pretty fair for both guys. Obviously something that favors one guy over the other. And we can only wait to see what's going to happen once they announce the rematch too, because I'm excited. I can't wait for it personally. You know, whether they make it now or later, it's gonna be fun as long as the show lasts. And obviously, you already know if you do a live fight chat for that, I'll do it with you. Otherwise, I'm gonna go catch that sucker in theaters.
Thank you for the call, Santiago. Obviously, I mean, it's just weird that again, I have this. I'm in the bubble, right? So I don't know if you could poll 1 million boxing fans, what the statistics would be. But from the YouTube boxing bubble, there's a lot of debate about this rematch, and I don't understand it. Like, I feel like people are trying to make reasons to either downgrade or put away this rematch or disrespect this rematch when everyone knows it's a great fight. Everyone knows it's competitive. Everyone knows it's worthwhile to run it back immediately as well. It's just perplexing in several ways why there is this sort of debate that doesn't need to be had. Like, I feel like this, of all times in boxing history, this should be the clear time where like every side of the aisle, whether you're a UK fan, AJ fan, Fury fan, Wilder fan, whoever it may be, you should all be saying, yeah, I want the Wilder Fury rematch next ASAP. Let's get a clear winner as soon as possible. Again, otherwise it just seems like you're just being a partisan hack and defending one side for no reason and making convoluted, backwards arguments when it doesn't really suit your side if you look at a bigger landscape of boxing. But anyways, a few questions in the chat that I wanted to address. Jamie, I forget your last name, but Jamie something had a really good question. Why is the rematch above the mandatory in the eyes of the WBC? Probably for several reasons. One, because they voted on it, their board of governors, like as their website says. Think of that as like a board of directors for like any sort of business, right? Your executive board. They voted that the rematch should happen. It should be ordered right now. Why that is? Could be several reasons. One, it's more money. I mean, let's just be honest. The WBC sanctioning fee that they get from fights, they're around 3% off the top that they get, will obviously be far bigger in a Wilder Fury rematch than a Wilder Dominic Breazeale fight. Right? Like, that's just obvious. On top of that, the WBC, very clearly, for a very long time, like being in the limelight. They like being attached to big fights. That's why when Canelo pushed them out at first of the Triple G rematch, they took that in a very like, oh, we got to fix this right now sort of way because they like being in the limelight. They like collecting that check. And also, I mean, you could argue from just a sporting side, like, even though Dominic Breazeale is the mandatory, I feel like the people that are arguing against the WBC and calling them corrupt are the same people that shit on Dominic Breazeale being a mandatory. So which one is it, fans? Like, are you guys calling the WBC corrupt for having Dominic Breazeale the mandatory above guys like Dylan White? Or are you saying the WBC is corrupt for not making Wilder Breazeale happen right now above a Fury rematch? Like, which one is it? You got to pick a side. Do the mandatories ultimately matter? And is it the end-all, be-all of the game? No, it's not. It's prize fighting. Wilder Fury is a better fight. It's a bigger fight in every single categorical way than Dominic Breazeale. So, if people want to say the WBC is corrupt for that, I mean, sure, you can call them corrupt for that. But I mean, there's a lot more. There's a lot of things we should be calling the sanctioning bodies corrupt for, other than that one, in my opinion. Leonard Sterling saying, what about the split match 60-40? What about that? Is there a controversy over the split? Because I don't understand the controversy over the split. Mandatories get 25%. He was alleged to get 30%, right? And they changed it to 40% due to his market value, they're saying, due to Tyson Fury's market value. That McGregor Boxing Stars saying, should I call in? McGregor Boxing Stars, you can, of course, call in. I will be wrapping up soon unless we do have more callers, by the way. So if you guys do want to call in, continue the show, call in. Otherwise, I will wrap up and end this one and be back later tonight for an MMA show. And then later tomorrow with Rob for our usual boxing show. But digressing back to the 60-40 split, I don't think that's controversial at all. I think that's pretty in line and of everything. And again, we can sort of criticize the WBC for them saying a purse bid for Wilder Fury is happening, and then that purse bid is a 60-40 split for the champion, isn't really crazy. Leonard clarifying his question saying, Fury saying he wants 50-50 from AJ, but will he accept 60-40 from Wilder? Again, I doubt we see a go to purse bid. But if it does go to purse bid, it's purely due to him trying to get the fight in the UK. So he'll be sacrificing percentage points to get the fight in the UK. That would be the thought process for Tyson Fury if he were to accept the 40%. Which I can see. I don't think it happens, though. Arthur in the chat saying Wilder will probably get 50-50. I think we're going to see probably a 55-45 split. Fight be in Vegas. Just being honest. I really think that's going to happen. The fight's now been deemed a true moneymaker, so I think it's going to be it's going to the T-Mobile Arena. I feel like that's obvious. Any other good questions, or am I going to wrap up the show? Looks like we wrap up the show, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone has a great morning, great evening, great night, wherever you are. Johnny, MB, Arthur, AD, Zorro, Joel, Leonard, or Joel. Joel. Either one. Oh, McGregor Boxing Stars. I'll go to you, man. McGregor Boxing Stars. How are you doing?
Oh, hi. Sorry, I was just connected. How's it going?
Going good, man. How are you?
I'm pretty well. This is good news to me. It's nice to see the WBC essentially ordering a voluntary mandatory, I guess, because of the controversy or the situation of the last fight. Mm-hmm. Good to see. 60-40 split is good. Purse bid. What's the situation with the purse bid? Exactly. Does everybody get to bid on this? Like when Epic came in and they bid on the Pulev and White shit and Pulev and Miller and stuff like that, or
yes.
What is it?
Yep.
So pretty much you and Rob could go and bid on this fight.
Yes.
That's good to see.
Technically speaking, yes, me and Rob could theoretically go to this purse bid and bid on it. It's just doubtful, obviously.
Yeah. But no, it's good to see. I think the 60-40 split is good. It's a fairly even split. Like you said, 25% is normally what voluntaries get, mandatories get. But this is kind of like Fury's market value is really high. Really, really high. He could really be a 50-50 fight, but you got to give the champion that 10%, I suppose, just to make him fight. But this is a good fight. Top fight. The first fight I went to, I was really happy going. It was one of the best fights of the year. A heavyweight. A lot of drama. 12th round might have been round of the year. So yeah, it's good to see again. Let's see how it goes. I'm just happy to see that the WBC have done something good.
I agree. I think the backlash for this news is weird. Like, I don't get it. Like, even the people like me who've criticized sanctioned buys a lot, this is a good move. Like, I've always been in favor of purse bids. I think the more purse bids we have in the sport, the more we get the fights we want, honestly.
Yeah, I get you. I completely agree with you. I don't think you and me will disagree much on most things. But I just don't seem to understand why people are saying 40% is derisory. I've seen some people say 40% is derisory for Tyson Fury because he won the first fight. Sure, in some in the consensus opinion, yeah, most people would agree that Fury won the fight. Some people would say it was a very competitive fight, like I believe. And BoxRec actually shows that because there was a lot of rounds where there was only a one punch difference, so could have been skewed any way for most people. But all in all, good fight. Happy to see it.
Yes, I agree. Thank
Really
you.
happy to see
Thank you for the call, McGregor Boxing Stars.
Thanks a million.
We're gonna go to 908. I believe that is. I'm not gonna try to pronounce the first name because I'm too white for that. But Zorro, in the 908. 908 is that? Where is 908? Where is that?
It's Jersey.
Jersey. That's what I thought.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm working right now, but I got some free times.
Can you do me a favor? I apologize. Can you maybe talk closer to the phone or to maybe your headset, whatever maybe you're using? You sound a little bit far away.
I had my headset. On before.
There we go. Perfect.
I mean, there's a lot of topics I want to cover because, all right, first I want to talk about this. This is the aspect I want to talk about. Say the zone was to come in and bid on this fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they won the rights to, showcase the fight. Wouldn't that essentially kind of lose AJ the A side because the amount I would assume that would have to be, paid for them to win the rights to the fight, like let's say, I don't know, it's 120 million they pay, I don't fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, that number is going to be a number that's essentially being split, whether it's down the middle or 60-40 between Wilder and Fury. So by the zone coming in and winning the rights to this fight, you can essentially be literally setting up Wilder as the A side. So now tell me, am I wrong in thinking that or no?
I don't see the jump. I can kind of see it where you're going with it, and the logic you're using with it, but I don't see the jump because if you're Eddie Hearn, if you're let's say DAZN, whoever it is, the market value for a Wilder Fury fight could be, like you said, let's just say $100 million, right? Just throw out a number. But for an AJ Wilder fight or an AJ Fury fight, it might be $150 million. It might be $200 million, whatever that number is, right? I think it would be more. So,
but
that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a one-to-one analog with a Wilder Fury in terms of the market value of that fight for an AJ matchup with either one of them. And that's in large part due to AJ stardom, in my opinion.
Well, here's what I was thinking, though. So we just saw Wilder and Fury, fight in L.A., right?
Mm-hmm.
And due to that, we were about to see, because I don't think Hearn will ultimately follow through with it, but we were about to see Hearn follow up and then bring AJ to the United States to kind of, showcase or, gauge like where he's at in terms of like the U.S. value.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the fact that the reason that Eddie Hearn was doing that is because he saw the amount of money earned and generated, in the Wilder Fury fight. Obviously, he wanted to kind of put AJ in a similar standing. Like if he was to sell out MSG, that kind of like helps his, A-side case, this, that, and the third. So if Wilder was to follow up with, Wilder Fury, DAZN, then DAZN essentially, bid an amount that would, just outright would outdo the amount of money that was generated in the first fight. When they come to the negotiation table then for the Wilder-Joshua fight, what can Joshua then say? Because, like in a similar sense, like let's say all of this happens, right? There's no opponent for Joshua to then go and grab and to kind of try to outdo the Wilder Fury rematch where he would earn similar type of money. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely see what you're saying. Like an AJ Miller fight, AJ whoever will not be a bigger fight than the Wilder Fury rematch. I think you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
It does that again. I think probably me and you are both under the assumption that Wilder wins the rematch, just for at least the argument's sake of what we're discussing here. Would that then catapult Wilder to an A-side status? No, but maybe 50. Maybe 50-50
for the conversation.
50-50. I can absolutely see that.
And look, and for the conversation's sake, all of this applies to Fury too, because he's also getting a big
Yes.
chunk of this money. So
Yes.
I mean, even if he was to come out victorious, I mean, this would essentially solidify, because Tyson Fury, it seems, as far as like what he's putting out, his stance on, you know, the 50-50 with AJ is a lot more, I guess you could say it's harder than Wilder's in a sense, because Wilder's already said, he's like, hey, you know, 60-40, you know, I can discuss that, this, that, and the third, but Fury's straight up 50-50, no deal. But I mean, if he goes to Vegas, beats Wilder on the zone purchase, you know, fight, that's, you know, however much money it generates, you know, that essentially. Yeah.
But see, but that argument
I mean,
that argument could be separate from the DAZN sort of bidding of it. Like it could be on Showtime, it could be on BT, whatever network it's on. I think if we have a clear winner from the Wilder Fury saga, so to speak, they will be 50-50 with AJ at that point, in my opinion. I think regardless of what network it's on.
And also, yeah, you know, because I was in the chat before. I want to explain something for a lot of these people in the chat because, like I said, I was typing it, but I could say it a lot better. The reason that we're in the situation as far as the whole Wilder mandatory situation, Brazil being the number 4 rated person, but Dillian Whyte's the number 1 rated person, all of this goes back to 2017. Now, if you remember in 2017, headed into the summer, I believe it was like the end of July, Terrence Crawford, I forgot who he fought in Nebraska, but Dillian Whyte made his United States debut back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what was supposed to happen was Dillian Whyte was supposed to fight Dominic Breazeale. That was the fight that was supposed to happen. But there was also other names like Gerald Washington, Amir Mansour, and somebody else. Their names were also being floated in there. And what happened was when Dillian Whyte decided to skip the Breazeale fight and fight Malcolm Tan, who nobody fucking knows, when he took that fight, the WBC then turned around and said Breazeale versus Molina is the final eliminator for the WBC title. And basically, that's essentially what got us to the point that we're at now. Because I remember after Whyte beat Chisora, I've heard him say in a couple of interviews that he'd be willing to discuss fights with Dominic Breazeale. But it's like, dude, you've had like the last 2 years to fight Breazeale and Ortiz, and you've acted like they don't even exist. And now that, like, you know, I mean, we're at where we're at now, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, even like if you look at Dillian Whyte's last 2 fights, you've been ordered by a sanctioning body, which you've been moving up the ranks and paying sanctioning fees for. You've been ordered to do one more fight before you fight for the title. And it's like you ignored that twice in a row, yet you're still out here complaining about, you know, title shots and this, that, and the third. Let alone, Wilder already said, and to be clear, Wilder's statement about if he beats Ortiz, I'll fight Whyte, this came after the whole, I'll make Whyte wait 2 years. So, Wilder's essentially said, you fight Ortiz and beat him, he will put all that AJ shit to the side, all that Fury shit, whatever's, you know, in front of him, he'll put all that to the side and fight you. But it's like you keep skipping or trying to, like, work your way around all the fights that can guarantee you that shot. Like, it's just, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Like, look at Dominic Breazeale. He has the mandatory shot. He hasn't been guaranteed anything. Like, he still has to take the back burner. And let's be honest. Let's say, in theory, Wilder goes and knocks out Fury in the rematch, calls out AJ. AJ says yes. The WBC isn't going to go and then say, hey, wait, hold up. Let's go fight Dominic Breazeale first.
Look, I can honestly admit, I would call myself I guess you could call myself a fanboy, but saying that, I've done my thorough research. Like, I know Wilder pretty well in terms of, you know what I mean? Basically, Wilder wants the AJ fight, but Wilder is also a man of principle. This guy said, he's like, look, you keep saying all this shit, I'm ducking you this, that, and the third. I've already tried to fight Whyte, but your promoter didn't want to put you or AJ in the contract for if I beat you. So Wilder's essentially like, look, I'm doing what I'm doing, but if you want me that bad, if you fight and beat Ortiz, no ifs, ands, or buts, no excuses. I'll stop what I'm doing, whoever I'm pursuing, and he'll fight him. And that's what should happen, because here's the thing, too. Especially with, like, this whole, like, A-side debate, if Whyte was to beat Ortiz, and fight Wilder, that fight can probably earn more money than Fury Wilder 2 rematch, to be honest, because Whyte can sell the fight arguably, he can arguably sell the fight better than the way Fury's doing. I mean, I don't know, man. Like I don't even understand why White's ducking Ortiz in the first place. To be honest, I mean, especially you're on a little fight roll. I mean, you've won your last like what 4 or 5 fights. Ortiz is only getting older by the day. You just knocked out Chisora with the lead left, so that's kind of certified that you got some power in your left. I mean, I don't understand why he's like avoiding this fight. He said he'll even fight you in your country. So, like, as far as the WBC stuff is concerned, I mean, it's White that's holding it up. Because I mean, like I said, nobody asked you or requested or was asking for you to fight Parker Chisora. Now, the Chisora people wanted to see that fight, but it's like 2 years after the fact, you know. And I see somebody in the chat, they're talking about, Fury's a different level of promotion. This is what you got to understand, the difference between White and Fury in terms of promoting the fight, right? As far as just like Fury's a good promoter in terms of when you're comparing him to like the McGregors or the Mayweathers. Like he knows how to create something out of nothing. Whereas if you put White and Wilder in some type of press conference, it's going to be straight up bad blood. Bad blood's still always going to outsell theatrics and all that other shit. Fury and Wilder still have a certain respect for each other, and you can see that. But you put White and Wilder in there, and that fight too, it's going to sell itself.
I don't disagree with some of the things you say. I just disagree with some of the things you say as well. But it's one of the things we agree to disagree on some of it. I will say this: I think White's goal is to get that AJ rematch because the AJ rematch is more money than a Wilder fight at this point. And then
let's really talk about that though, because one, I mean, AJ doesn't even seem to want to give White a reasonable split. I mean, Wilder would probably give White a better split than what AJ's giving him. And I mean, as far as you saying the AJ fight earns more, I mean, from what I've heard and what I've gathered, the Wilder versus Fury fight gained and generated more money than any AJ fight's ever done. So why, to be honest, Wilder is really the money fight. You're getting UK pay-per-view as well as US pay-per-view. I mean, let alone, granted, a UK person would have to correct me, but I'm assuming that Sky Sports is the bigger network brand than BT Sports. So I mean, if you do a Sky Sports pay-per-view over there, if you do a Sky Sports pay-per-view over there as well as the US pay-per-view over here, I'm pretty sure Dylan White would make a lot more money messing with Wilder than Anthony Joshua.
I don't agree with that. I again agree to disagree. I think the Wilder fight might have potential, maybe more upside, maybe. But I think guaranteed money, I think he's going to get more for an AJ rematch at this point in time, or at least in the near future. But to your point of White fighting Ortiz, I think he'd probably have to fight Ortiz relatively soon. I do think AJ will fight Big Baby Miller. I think we will see that. I think we are going to see, obviously, Wilder-Fury rematch, so that really leaves White with very few options. One is Dominic Brazil. One is Luis Ortiz. And whatever mandatory status Brazil has, this is still prize fighting. And at the end of the day, if White goes and beats Parker, Chisora, and Ortiz and still doesn't have mandatory status, he is absolutely deserving of a title shot versus anyone.
I mean, like I said, that's like the by book definition, but it's like, you know Wilder more than me.
Mm-hmm.
When Wilder says something, he means it. This dude said, yo, if he beat Ortiz, I will fight you. There's no extra caveats to when Wilder talks. He says what he means what he says. All you got to do is beat Ortiz, and then we got the next fight to look forward to, White versus fucking, Wilder. I mean, I don't understand. White keeps going off the whole, because like I said, White's not lying when he says that at one point Wilder was like, yo, I'm going to make you wait. When Wilder said that, that was when he just ended negotiations with Joshua, and he was frustrated. So he's like, why the hell would I just waste my time for 3 months talking to Joshua, and then I'm supposed to just grant you a title? So he goes, I'm going to make you wait the same way they make me wait. But then after the Ortiz fight, that's when he said, hey, if you guys, and it's not even like it's just to wait. He said anybody. He said anybody who fights and beats Ortiz, I'll fight you and give you a title shot. So
a lot of negotiations and sort of business moves in boxing are based off of ego, and that goes both ways sometimes. Zorro, thank you for the call. Really appreciate it. Hope you call in again.
No doubt.
McGregor, I see you came back. I do apologize. I do have to head out. Again, I do apologize. But that is it today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be back again later tonight for an MMA-only show. And then back again tomorrow for our regular boxing content and Boxing Banter episode 3 on patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. I am Matt, the Hipster Hunter. You can find me at Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Smash the like button, share the show, call in. And like I said, head over to Patreon. Support the show. And you get extra content all the time. McGregor saying, damn you, Matt. I apologize. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Shots at me. I'm sorry. I do have to go. Gotta run. But have a great day, and I'll see you all later tonight. Peace.